Hi, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about your life will not change until you change. And what do I mean by that? So, there were many years, I'm about to be 40 years old, and there was many years that I was living the same life every single year, the same thing, repeating itself over and over and over. And eventually, what winds up happening is you become depressed, sad, anxious, and ultimately, you get to a place where life is very hard to live because nothing's changing. One of the things that I had to realize for myself was the fact that I was the common denominator in the things that were happening to me in my life, that this was not anybody else's fault, but Michael's fault. So when I came to grips with, I need to be the one to change to be able to change my outcome. Because at the end of the day, let's face it, you're the author of your own story. So if you want to change your life, then you've got to change your thought process. That's where it starts at. So one of the things that I had to realize whenever I wanted to change my outcome, I wanted to have a different life, was I started having to figure out, who am I? Who is Michael? And it took me a while to realize I had to take self-inventory of myself. I had to get to a place where I had to realize what it was I wanted to do, what I want to be known for, and then I had to step into that. Now, in order to step into that, one of the things that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to create different habits. I was doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. And at the end of the day, that's insanity. You cannot keep doing the same thing over and over and over, because if you do, you're going to keep getting the same thing over and over and over. And what was happening with me was I was getting so frustrated because I was producing the same results. And so in order to change that, I had to create different habits. Now, in my mind, I had to take inventory of my pros and my cons, what's working, what's not working. A lot of things in my life at the time were not working. And the way I viewed things was not working as well either. I didn't like being told what to do. I liked discipline, and I liked creating anything healthy for myself. Also, on top of that, what made it worse was I never put myself first. I always put everybody else first. And at the end of the day, when you do that over time, eventually what happens is you become very regretful or resentful to others. And it can actually wind up making you bitter as you start getting older, because that's what was happening to me. I started seeing that I was aging. I started seeing that I was getting older. I started seeing that window kind of closing on me. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I'm not doing anything or accomplishing anything that I want to do or accomplish. So I had to get myself up. I had to start moving. I had to do something that was different from what I've done. So one of the things that I started doing was I started talking to myself in a positive aspect. I started coming up with things that I liked about myself. I started becoming grateful about the things in my life. And when I started doing that, I started having a positive change in my body, in my thought process, in my life. A lot of things started changing when I changed this. And I'm going to tell you, this right here is your biggest enemy. If there is no enemy within you, then the enemy outside can do you no harm. That's something I heard from Les Brown, and I'm going to be honest with you. He's one of my favorite motivational speakers, but he's absolutely right. The demons and the things that we fight on the inside and what we tell ourselves produces the results on the outside of us that we don't want. So I had to learn how to start telling myself things that I do want. I had to start telling myself things that I actually liked about myself. I had to start writing down a journal of things that were positive in my life and started focusing on that rather than the negative things in life. And as I started doing that, things started changing. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of things in life is based off of perception. My dad used to always say before he passed away, if you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change. And he is absolutely correct. The way I viewed life and the way I viewed things was ultimately causing my reality. And now that has changed. So that's definitely one of the things that helped me whenever I wanted to start changing my life. Your life will not change until you get to a point where you're fed up enough to actually start changing it. And also what you tell yourself. Don't tell yourself it's too late. Don't tell yourself that you're too old, too much damage, you've done this, you've done that. You can't keep telling yourself that. You have to tell yourself, you know what? I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it right now, and get up and start doing it. And eventually what happens is when you take that day by day, if you say to yourself, I will own today, and then the next day you wake up and say, you know what? I'm going to own today. Make it a day to day. Eventually, you'll look back and you'll be like, wow, I've done this for how long? And you'll be so proud of yourself. With that being said, I hope that this video has found you, and I really hope that this video helps. I hope you guys have a beautiful and blessed day.